In Arizona, voters in 2022 will get to decide whether young people brought illegally to the United States as children should qualify for in-state tuition at community colleges and state universities. The legislature approved a ballot referral on Monday. The Arizona House approved the ballot referral on a contentious 33-27 vote. The Senate passed the measure in March with 3 Republican members joining the 14 Democrats. The change is needed because a 2006 voter-approved law blocks any public benefits for people who are not legal residents or citizens. Residents enrolled in the Obama-era Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program were given in-state tuition until a 2018 state Supreme Court ruling said they do not qualify for cheaper tuition offered to legal residents.
And Yuma County is considering a $464 million budget for the next fiscal year. That's an increase of almost 60% from last year's. The county says that's because the board decided to be cautious with its funds amid the pandemic. Yuma County will also be receiving nearly $50 million in coronavirus aid from the federal government.
The biggest piece that we have that is going to make a difference for the general public and those who qualify is the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. That's going to go from $6.5 million to about $12 or $13 million, and that can go back up to 15 months.
Board of Supervisors will meet next month to formally adopt the tentative budget before presenting it to the public for comment. For highlights of the county's proposed budget, head on over to our website at kyma.com.
While there's been an influx of undocumented immigrants surrendering themselves at the border, Border Patrol Yuma Sector's Chief Patrol Agent Chris Clem says agents are seeing much more than those large groups.
They're seeing other illegal activity on the U.S.-Mexico border. News 11's Crystal Jimenez joins us from there with more.
Chief Clem says there's been an uptick of those still trying to illegally enter the United States undetected, stash houses, and human and drug smuggling. All of this in correlation with those who are surrendering themselves to Border Patrol agents. While Border Patrol is busy at the southern border with the increase of undocumented immigrants surrendering themselves, other problems are arising.
There's definitely a correlation to the influx of large groups surrendering on entry and those that are trying to evade us. We've had an increase in stash houses, an increase in criminal alien smuggling cases, narcotics interdictions.
Border Patrol reports 6 stash houses already this year compared to last year where it only came across 5. Chief Clem saying cartels are taking advantage of the current situation.
They are about exploiting situations to profit, and they are again attempting to shape the border by controlling who and what comes through the border and when and where.
Border Patrol agents from different states are currently assisting at the southern border. BP saying it has about 150 extra agents helping Yuma Sector's agents, the Surge Capacity Force, and Customs and Border Protection officers. But Chief Clem says there's still a need for technological resources.
There's technology that'll help us with detection, response, surveillance, as well as efficient processing.
While the problems Border Patrol are facing have no end in sight, Chief Clem says there could be a solution to the influx.
What we need is consequences for those that enter the country illegally that aren't entitled to or granted some kind of immigration relief. I think that would put a stop or at least slow down what we're dealing with today.
Border Patrol is still reporting 350 to 500 apprehensions a day, saying only about 8% of those who have been apprehended are actually released into the Yuma sector. The rest deported, released to U.S. Department of Human and Health Services or ICE. Now, Chief Clem says his agents are doing a good job at finding a balance between dealing with the processing side of the influx versus defending the U.S.-Mexico border. Reporting in Yuma, Crystal Jimenez, News 11.
Well, in regional headlines, the California Highway Patrol says someone's been shooting out the windows of moving vehicles outside of Los Angeles. At least 8 drivers say it happened to them on freeways as recently as Monday. Some say a BB or pellet gun appears to be involved. Most victims haven't been injured, but this pregnant woman you see here sought medical care. Her fiance says his 3 children were in the back seat during the shooting in Riverside. The Highway Patrol says whoever's firing the shots appears to be doing so from another vehicle.
Well, the drought in California is getting worse. Monday, Governor Gavin Newsom expanded a drought emergency declaration to include 39 additional counties in central and northern regions of the state. Newsom's initial state of emergency was due to a lack of rainfall and an unanticipated reduction in water flowing to major reservoirs. The U.S. Drought Monitor reports about 98% of California is now experiencing drought conditions, with nearly 75% of the state seeing extreme drought conditions. The new emergency declaration directs state agencies to take action to help farmers and manage reservoir releases to conserve water. Newsom also called on Californians to do their part to save water.
And a charge on Palm Springs, California restaurant bill has sparked a debate. It's called the Healthy California Tax and goes towards employee health care.
Yeah, but not all customers are excited to pay this new fee. Olivia Sandusky with more.
I'm not sure I'd support something like that, you know?
A tax on a local restaurant bill sparks controversy in Palm Springs. Stout Burgers and Beers charges customers 3.5% to pay for their staff's health care, and the owner says it's necessary.
This was kind of a way for us to say, hey, we're concerned about you. We want you to think about this as a profession, and we want to give back and provide the most fundamental thing that you could, which is healthcare.
The charge has been seen in San Francisco and some Los Angeles restaurants, and Charles says it's a way to ensure that all employees receive medical benefits, especially during critical times like the pandemic.
If we didn't know before, we're truly acutely aware now of how important healthcare is.
While the tax is becoming more common, other Valley restaurant owners say they weren't aware of it and don't plan to add it to their bill.
We would just as soon absorb the costs or find creative ways to increase revenue, or at last resort, you redesign your menu or redesign what you're serving.
And while some social media users support the fee, saying they'd gladly pay it, a few Palm Springs visitors weren't in favor of the new addition.
Well, the restaurants have to make the income some way to pay for that. But I'm not so sure it should be passed on directly onto the customers.
Charles says he understands some customers may be surprised by the charge, but he feels it's worth it.
It's a fundamental issue that has to be addressed. And if we can address that as owners and operators of restaurants, then we will deal with the negative implications that come along with it.
On Sunrise, the controversy over voting rights